That's not catching.
Gentlemen, we're going live in about 6 minutes.
I gotta go to the bathroom before we go live.
Well, thanks for telling everybody.
I just came from the diner. I went and got a bite to eat.
I'm going to put another chair up over there.
Hey.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Going to put some comments up. And we're going to be able to, I just did this so you can see over here. So now we can do this. And if you take a look, just don't sit on that. So I created this overlay, so when we're live on the group now, you get the logo there, and then when we go live, there'll just be a border so that the video will be in there.
Right.
So it'll look good. And now I'll just test it with my phone.
Test it, 1, 2, 3.
What's good about this is we talk about a specific video, I could throw it right up.
Right.
Them,
Yeah, you can dial it in.
Dial it right in.
Yeah.
So that works out great. But
I mean, like some nights, I get on and I go, best UFOs for this month of this year or whatever, and then you look at all of these. I said, none of these look like the one I saw, but I guess the one I saw was sophisticated.
Right.
But that was back in '67, and I thought God was visiting me. It was like, I swear to you, it was like pulsating, and I could almost touch the fucking thing. If I could have jumped higher, I could have,
How do you know? All of this? I said, well, listen, I'm a clairvoyant, I used to tell him. Meanwhile, we used to have breakfast at 7 in the morning with Carmine Apatello, and he tells us.
I know Carmine, yeah.
Yeah, he used to tell us what's going on.
Yep, Carmine was great.
Oh, are you kidding me? What a character he was. He probably has a room the size of this filled with cash by now.
Oh yeah.
From
Oh yeah. Let me see if the
Insider Racing, man, you can't beat it. But yeah, I mean, Bob, he believes too much, and I said,
Let's see if we can get Alan that photo as soon as he gets back. Just so you know, we're live. We're still waiting for some people to get their ass here.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those cold and flu
What time do you
seasons.
gotta put money in the meter till?
I put it in till
6?
something like that. Well, I went to 8. What's it? It's a quarter.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, for insurance.
You know what? I'd rather spend 4 quarters than
Yeah,
get a
right.
ticket.
Yep. Because the tickets are not what they used to be.
No, they're not.
I got one in Riverdale. I was 6 inches
Welcome to
into a
Riverdale.
crosswalk.
And
Expecting a big crowd tonight or what?
well, you know what? I'm gonna, you gotta give them some slack because
It must be frozen testicales out there.
I
So.
mean, there's a lot of people that are,
That's what it is.
waiting on it. So whatever. I know Anna Day and
Rosie?
Yeah, they should be
I
here.
seen that Anna Day, Rosie, and
Yep. Welcome.
hey, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
Grab a chair.
Good, thanks. Yourself?
All right, looks like I'm the only one here.
Nope.
No,
There's more.
three of us.
There's
Three of
actually
us here.
three of us.
4 altogether.
Oh.
No, there should be more people coming. It's just they're running
It's
a little
just,
late.
you know what? It starts a little bit late. Some people getting out of work. Some people,
Yeah.
On the
So
highway.
just so you can see this out. Turn that around. Look at that. This one we can see.
Oh, I didn't even notice you had the sign up behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
How you doing? I'm Al.
Al, I mentioned before, I'm Peter.
Okay.
Hey, Peter, Brian.
Yes.
Pleasure, Matt. Peter.
I knew I didn't.
Danny.
Danny on bass.
Nice to meet you.
Danny on bass. So this works out well. You can hear what's going on. You know.
The last time you came, did you come with a young guy?
Did I? No, I came myself.
Oh, I thought you came with. I must be mistaken with someone else. Came
The
with you.
last time, when was the last meeting?
I haven't been here in a couple
It was
of
a
months
month. It was
either, so
over a month ago because we didn't do anything with January.
Yeah, I didn't know there
it
was
was-
another meeting.
It was, see, what people don't understand, and I'm just gonna explain it to everybody on TV land. It's not as easy to get a place,
No, I know.
to get, people to come, first of all, to get people to come in. And to get us place. We had a place,
we had a place.
and due to an event,
We lost the place.
That was
we
in Yonkers,
lost,
you said,
Yeah.
right. We lost it, and we're never getting back to that.
No, never getting back to that.
At all. So
Maybe when they tear it down and put a new one up.
Yeah,
Well-
or that guy, the head of the thing, retires.
you know what I
Get back
mean.
in there, maybe.
I don't want to. I don't want to piss the guy off. I understand why he doesn't want people there. There was an incident, and he doesn't want that kind of. It's dangerous. You know what? People go to the library to read books and hang out and just, maybe have some discussion, get some help. They don't go there to get sucker punched.
Listen,
So, not that it happened there at the library, but long story short, he doesn't want that being brought into his library, the potential. So I have no problems with it
Absolutely.
whatsoever. I literally have no problems with it. Problem here is some people, they can make it, some people can't make it. Some people open their, some people piss people off. It's an open meeting. We're doing our best to try to get this on a regular basis. So far for this month and next month, it's the same, I think the third week or the last
Yeah,
week.
because I was on here, I think it was in September or October.
Yeah, we did September. I mean, we did pretty good for the most part. We had
I didn't know there was others, and I think I sent you a note, and then you said you were trying to find out about
well,
another one.
some people online friendly with Paul
yeah.
Right.
were starting a lot of shit. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
a
Well,
lot of stuff, and one of which I just blocked. I mean, I've never blocked anybody in my freaking life, but I had to block this broad because I don't know what her problem is or whatever. But she was taking some of our artwork and and official announcements and then saying chicken dinner, free chicken dinner, and some stupid stuff. And then there was another guy chiming in with them, and it's like, look, And then they complain, like you know, when you give them a hard time, it's like, well, how come you're not recording the live meeting? I'm like, well, apparently you want it, but why are you starting with everybody? We put our ass on the line. It's a lifesaver. It's a tab, Orange Sunshine. I wish. We put our names on this. We try to create an open forum for everybody. Everybody has a different view. I respect it. You believe what you believe. I don't necessarily have to believe it. You know, but we want to give you an open forum. We want to give people that have had experiences with this, be it unidentified flying objects, alien races, abductions, Bigfoot, you know, crazy stuff like that. We want to give them an opportunity, you know?
Anything and all things paranormal, whatever it may be. You know?
Yeah, so.
No, it's good. From what I remember it, the last time I was here, I really liked it. I didn't know there was any in between, otherwise I would have tried to come.
Well, you know, we're trying, and it's kind of difficult to get everybody in, you know, one, the person who runs this events here is fantastic. She's a wonderful lady. She's allowed us to have this. I think this is a great space.
Great space.
I mean, I'd like to get access to the, eventually the idea that we had was, we have this projector here. We can go live with Skype. We can get some pretty big names to get on there, come to the meeting, present, and then, you know, you can go from there. But I'm not going to invite, and Al's not going to invite, and we're not going to put our names out there and invite people to a meeting when not that many people want to show up or for whatever reason. I know that you guys have a separate little secret double probation club, you know. You know, and I don't care. It's a breakfast or a lunch. I don't, you know, and God bless you, keep going, whatever. But
It's a breakfast of champions, that's all.
Wasn't there a show called The Breakfast Club or something like that?
there's
Yeah,
the Breakfast
yeah.
Club. What do you need a fake ID for? So I can vote. I brought a gun to school.
That's pretty much
Swear
it.
gun.
But,
So, and you know what? When you take off a month for you know, January being like the kids are off from school, life takes precedent. I got kids that I got to take care of. He's taking care of his kids, but he doesn't have to take care of his kids.
Yeah.
You know, they're older, they're
They'll
adults.
be right, once they hit a
So,
certain age then.
No one cuts you slack. I mean, you know, I'd love to be able to be an artist for the rest of my life, but I don't want to be a starving artist.
Right, that's exactly, but
You
that's
know?
the truth, because I had a friend, I said, Marty, why are you always borrowing money from me? Well, I'm a starving artist.
Yeah, get a fucking job.
That's all he said. Then he goes and finds this heiress, young girl, and he's living in a $5,000 a month apartment in Manhattan. And I'm going,
Should have borrowed money from him then.
yeah, right, you know.
I mean, there was a
Said,
lot of
Marty,
traffic.
can I borrow a couple grand off of you?
Yeah, right. The last person. And, hey, he borrowed Sid Arthur from me and never gave it back. I said, Marty, you said you were going to read it. Oh yeah, but I still like it. You know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not yours.
Right. That's what I try to
Back.
tell him. It's not yours. You want it's lending, like a lending library. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to take pictures of it or bring it.
Of what? Oh, the guitar?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad, yeah. I
So,
love to see it.
everybody that's paying attention and listening,
You know, the more I listen to it, the more I love that song. I really
wait
do.
until I stick some lyrics to it. So,
Did you see what I put down about the whatchamacallit? I send it to you. I probably send it to your Bowden whatchamacallit address.
yeah, I'll go check.
Yeah, you got to read what I said. Because
I will.
There's a couple of things you could do that I mentioned in the comment that will make that sound like magical. You know what I mean?
It's
Because the more I listen to it, the more I hear stuff that
Yep.
wow, this would sound really good with
If
that.
you put this piece
with that
in there or
and this
that
with
piece.
that, yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You know, so my buddy calls me up.
He's got these two great guitar players
And
that he's playing with.
Dave,
oh my God.
he's the one that Dave, if you're watching, thanks. He's the one that I want to just. I've known Dave since I'm like 5-6 years old, and he's done some real touring and real. You know, he's really good.
They're both
Self-taught.
good. They're both good.
Yeah,
They're both good.
Ray's great too. That's the
They're
first time I met Ray.
both
Ray reads music. He writes it. You know, he can play
yeah,
on
they're
multiple
both
things.
just phenomenal guitar
But
players.
it was just fun. Dave just called me up like, dude, want to start a band? I'm like, Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know, Brian never says no to anything. Brian's like, yeah, he says yes to everything.
Somehow I'm gonna have to get him in there somehow. But you know, he lives in Canada.
I gotta buy drums.
No, they already have drums. It's great.
Candidates for healthcare.
Yeah.
You can't get it here.
I can't get across the border at night though.
Seriously, you gotta watch out for stuff. But
New York driver's license don't work anymore.
Just recently, a friend of mine, he's going to
Gonna
work
text
in
a couple
Canada,
people.
but you're not allowed, you know, at the border, they ask you what you're doing here. We came for a wedding. You can't tell them you're going to work in Canada. They won't let you in.
Really?
You're an American citizen, yeah.
Oh wow.
So they wanted his license, comes up in 1981.
right.
He had a DWI that was thrown out.
Okay.
He says, well, he said, you're going to have to post a bond if you want to enter the country.
Really?
Yeah. Because
Something happened.
And he had they made him sign a declaration that he would not step into any bar in their country.
Holy cannoli.
Welcome,
There he is. The man, the
the
myth, the
Prince
legend.
of the Democratic Party.
Anybody see Black Klansman?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I did.
Amazing.
It's a good
We're gonna be
movie.
talking movies tonight too. What's good about this is everybody can talk whatever you want. You know,
Oh, yeah, we had quite a conversation.
yeah, you know, and there are the usual suspects that complain anyhow. So we do have people chiming in. It's just a little bit early, and in the cold and flu season,
You hear it in your voice.
dude. I was feeling all right, and then all of a sudden today, I bought. I haven't bought this in ages. I'm not a big fan of lemon meringue pie.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So
I
no,
don't
look
eat
at like
anything.
a half piece. So the kids wanted to try whatever. So I ate the lemon and the meringue last night, and I was like, man, I'm not feeling good after this. You know, like, how bad can it be? It's pie filling, and you know,
Yeah.
but the meringue is egg whites.
Yeah.
There's a recall on eggs.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
jeez.
That's right, check your
Yeah,
eggs.
that's a good topic too, because there's a recall on every kind of food, lettuce
Yeah.
and all other kinds of shit,
Yep.
you know?
I mean, when the CDC tells you don't eat romaine
You know what?
lettuce,
There's no
pay
recall on
attention to it.
bacon.
Yeah, they never recall
There's
bacon.
no recall on bacon.
well, swine flu, they would have recalled it.
I mean, I'm just going through like my own shit because
Boston
I
Market's
I just found
frozen
out I had
dinners have
non-Hodgkin's
recall.
Oh,
Oh, did
And
it
I
really?
had chemotherapy before I came here.
Wow.
So it's like I'm wondering where I got that from because I eat mostly I was eating healthy foods and everything. I was
it's all
exercising.
genetics.
Or is it some of that stuff that they spray?
Actually, when I was walking in, I didn't see you here yet, because I don't even know what the hell the new color's in. But you couldn't miss it. There was the chemtrail above.
Chemtrails.
And
that's
every
what-
time we come to this
Yeah.
meeting, I mean, like the sun setting, you see these two white lines going up there. It looks like the 80s. Cocaine cowboys.
Just wanted 6:37 this morning. I looked up, it's like miles long. I said, well, they get up early for this?
24/7.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
I'm just gonna let everybody know that if you're online, you can comment. We can see the comments. It'll come up. They'll pop up. So up there you go, Rosie.
Rosie, where are you?
Where are you? Get your butt here. Get here with your buddy.
Could she see you?
Yeah, you can see us. We're doing, you know, some people are against being online and we respect it, but I don't care. Yeah, I believe in UFOs. You know, I've had my own experiences with them. I also believe in God. Something I haven't seen. Oh, you know,
There you go.
whatever.
Then you want to go to an atheist meeting.
Yeah.
Has anybody heard, this showed up on Facebook yesterday, Dan Aykroyd was involved in making a series for a cable network on UFOs. There's supposed to be an 8-part series.
Okay.
He goes outside of the studio, the soundstage, to have a smoke. Ready to go back in, he notices 2 guys in black overcoats and suits and hats get into a black Cadillac and drive away. He goes back into the studio. Then people from the cable network tell him the series has been canceled and it's not going to be shown on TV. I mean,
This is actual.
This
It was
is
on Facebook?
Ackroyd talking on Facebook yesterday.
Yeah, I seen something. I didn't take the time to read what he was talking about, but I did see something about Dan Aykroyd on
I'm gonna
Facebook.
contact the
I'm gonna go
head
find it right now.
of- Okay,
I'm gonna go try to find it, and then I can throw it up.
They
behind-
canceled it before it got off the ground.
and it's never been released on DVD. Now, coupled with what the History Channel is doing on Project Blue Book,
Oh yeah, great.
I'm gonna
show.
track down the Science and
Oh,
Technology
that new
editors
show
in the New
that
York
they have
Times.
on that Project Blue Book, is that the one you're talking about? They put that new show on?
No, this is something Ackroyd was involved with.
Wow,
It just popped up yesterday.
Dan Aykroyd. See if we can get anything.
I'm going after the Science and Technology editor of the New York Times. I'm gonna research who wrote that big cover story on December 16th, 2017 on UFOs. That was on the front page of the New York Times. Very long article.
Yeah, but then it faded.
That was the one about the guy from the rock band, right?
Oh, I don't wanna go there.
No, but
There was a secret project run out of the Pentagon after they shut down Project Blue Book.
Well, something that's very interesting that recently happened was the giant pyramid that was seen over the Pentagon.
I'm sorry?
See that?
Really?
Yeah, giant pyramid. Have you seen it?
no.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up the video, so anybody that's paying attention, I will bring up the video. And, I mean, it was there for minutes. This guy's videotaping in a cab, and you can't miss it. Can't miss the damn thing. So let me go try to find out, was it called Dan Aykroyd Unplugged on UFOs? No, that's 2015. Let me go find the UFO thing over by the Pentagon. UFO over Pentagon. And huge pyramid spotted over looming over the Pentagon. Let's go to videos. And where is it? I'm gonna see if I can play it. And come on, video. Where are you, video? Let's go to but it was, you know, actually there was, now I don't know if this was acting or if this was something else, but apparently there was a meeting at the UN and they were talking about it and someone seemed to record it. So, you know, in today's day and age, you don't know if it's fake, if someone's making a movie.
Yeah,
It's very
that
hard to
was
tell.
the first thought that popped into my head, that someone was making a movie and that may have been, what do you call those light things,
Drones?
no, where like they do in Star Wars with that little,
Droids?
no, that little film and light, whatever it's called.
Industrial Light and Magic.
No.
I'd like to go off the board for Disney for 500.
When she comes out of R2D2 and she does that thing, so, you know, in the very first, what's it called? I can't think of the name of that stuff. That what they do now with the lasers and it looks almost like it's alive.
Oh, you mean,
Yeah, exactly.
CGI.
Yeah, but it's got a name for it.
Well, it's like human animation, if you just want to.
Yeah, Brian.
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I'm showing this right now to
Okay.
people. It's the UFO
That's,
from Pentagon.
that's part of how the create fake news is.
So
Yeah,
here, I can't turn
Oh,
this
there we go.
because I don't want to. But if you come around here, this is literally a pyramid over the Pentagon. It was there for minutes. It was, you know, it's watch the wire, Steve.
Yeah.
Otherwise we're unplugged.
It'll be out of juice.
I'm trying to pull back from it, but this is it. This guy, there's a better video of a cab, coming over, and this guy's videotaping it. I mean, this is legit.
Incident in Rendlesham was a big pyramid shape.
Yeah, well, you know what, I mean.
Hologram. That's the word I'm looking for.
Hologram.
That may be a hologram. The first thing I
Honey?
Hollywood shooting something that's a
Hologram.
hologram. That's what I was trying to say.
So this is that goes along with what's his name? Everybody, well, not everybody, most people. Stephen Greer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's talking about Bluebeam.
Right, Project Bluebeam.
Right. You know, it's like, you know, all this stuff taking place. So,
Wow, that's cool.
but I mean,
That is really cool.
it's pretty interesting. And then what's great about this is, we'll see it on this if you want to know. It's free. I mean, when I broadcast, you don't think you have to be a member to actually see it. So just go online, you can go to UFO Roundtable and catch it. So that's pretty damn impressive. Some guy literally was in a cab and he's like the videotape and he changes angles. Now, don't get me wrong. You can definitely change that. You know, you could easily do some, you know, CGI.
Editing stuff on it.
Yeah. But, you know, I just don't know why you would.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
For the 5 minutes of fame, that's why people do
Well,
that shit. You know
I mean,
what
like, you know what? If you're gonna do something to get money from it, that's one thing. But if you're not gonna do something and get money, what's the point? I mean, like, really, do you get your rocks off by pretending to be?
Yeah, but
an
some
alien?
people they have nothing better to do but to fake shit, put it online, and get 10,000 hits or 10,000 views on something that's bullshit.
Right,
yeah,
right.
I mean,
It's so hard to tell.
yeah.
It's
I mean, you know, that's just there are people out there that get off, and then you have the government doing the other. What do you call that? I can't think of any words tonight.
Disinformation.
Disinformation. Thank you very much. That you know,
My
which is
favorite
on
word.
the other hand, who knows if it's actually that could be
What's
somebody
that
in the
shit?
doing that. You know?
Since alien spaceship, I tell you.
I'm bored.
Yeah, of course it is.
well, I mean, you know, what's interesting is in the time
Yes,
frame
yes, I'm really
taking
sorry,
place,
but just I was talking.
yeah, they didn't send anything up, but then again, they covered.
And first of all,
Yes,
the
yes, I'm
airspace
really
around
sorry,
that
but
thing,
just
the FAA
I
knows
was
immediately.
talking.
Everybody. Yeah.
All right. Everybody.
Well, this shit. That's what I mean.
So excuse me, lady. I'll post these in the door. Well,
Honey?
yeah, you know, and they eventually,
Should not be here.
that private.
And not starting yet. Oh,
Yeah, it's not a, that's what I'm talking
And he wasn't cracking any jokes. He sounded very upset about it. And, you know, I mean, listen, the History Channel's got Project Blue Book.
They got all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff
but that's
on
another
History Channel.
disinformation situation.
What you're seeing, I'm up to episode 4. I have a friend that burns them for me. And you're seeing them.
Yeah, I love Project Blue Book. I'll be honest with you. I mean,
What?
I love.
That
I
show,
watch the
yeah.
show.
I've seen it a few
I watch
times.
it. I watch it religiously, and it's really good. I mean, I don't know how accurate the other stuff is about his personal life and all of that nonsense
Yeah,
that's going
you see
on.
the whole thing.
But-
He was never in a plane crash.
Who was this?
Hynek.
Dr. J. Allen Hynek. And the incident you saw in the first episode with the 2 planes firing at the UFO, that to me came across as a reproduction of the Thomas Mantell incident.
Yes,
But the
I
Thomas
agree.
Mantell incident happened in the daytime and they were flying P-51 Mustangs. The thing you saw in Project Blue Book, they were flying two-seater AT-6 trainers that are unarmed, and one of them is firing machine guns at this UFO. And they're flying at night, and this was not a night mission, the Mantell mission.
Did Mantell die?
Yeah, he died in the crash,
died in
but
the crash,
the plane fell from approximately 25,000 feet, but the investigators said that, you know, the debris should have been over a much wider area. And when you fall from that great height, usually the body is destroyed. His body was in the cockpit, but he was dead.
Yeah.
You know, and the last transmission he made, he was cut off in mid-sentence. And his wingman said he saw a beam of light come from the UFO and hit Mantell's craft.
Right.
So, you know, that's
Well,
very puzzling.
Holy shit. I mean, I haven't watched it, the Project Blue Book.
No, we watch it. Even my wife is into it, believe it or not. You know.
Really?
Yeah, she loves it.
Well, they really do a good job.
And they got really good
drama
actors too. The actors are really good. Yeah.
But I know, you know, after a while, it's like we used to say about, like, yeah, I heard about Roswell. I know about it. Let's move on. There's other things besides Roswell, Stevenson, Rendlesham. There's a lot of other things we can talk about. You know, can we, you know, maybe move up 50 years?
I know. I agree. It's just done very well. The acting is
And
done.
you see how he's realizing slowly that the Air Force is duping him, using him as a patsy.
Right.
And I'm sure that's going to come out in later episodes because he broke totally.
Yeah, and the great thing, and I was telling my wife before the show started, I said, just a little, you know, history on this. This guy was there to debunk UFOs.
Right.
He didn't believe in UFOs.
No, but
and
as he saw the
ended up
evidence,
being the biggest believer in the world after everything was said and done, and they threw him off the case. You know.
Oh, he quit.
Yeah, well, whatever. However it ended, right? But I mean.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, like in the times that I did see the Project Blue Book, it's like it was showing, you know, like what really happened. Like for all those years, they kept like dissing the public and stuff like that. But they were trying to show on the show like what really was going on behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Yeah.
And like how they were just making people just keep quiet. So it's almost pointless that they even had it, you know, because they.
But isn't it interesting? Like when you see Hynek's character and the Air Force guy go to visit these witnesses, they say, "Oh, somebody was already here," and that was the man in black.
The one I seen,
Right, yeah, exactly.
the one I seen was the one that.
They're always first.
In West Virginia, that one.
What, they crashed into the woods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they seen it, and then they try to tell people that it was nothing but
Meteor.
And
oh yeah, the owl in the tree, right, the owl in the tree.
Because
the kid said they seen the alien, right?
Yeah, so it's like, what was the whole point of them even having a Project Blue Book if they weren't going to be?
Because the public was asking questions, and you know, the top people in the American government had in the military had a meeting in 1947. Hey, look, you know, people are asking too many questions. We have to do something. But they agreed
trying to debunk it.
They didn't want to release this to the public because back then a lot more people were religious than they are now, and they were afraid it was called panic. People would freak out.
Right.
Because especially the Roman Catholic Church preaches that we're it. There's no other intelligent life in the known universe.
Plus, they didn't want to know the Orson Welles thing, you know, War of the Worlds, where everybody was panicking and running through the streets like lunatics and people getting together and with guns and stuff and driving around in pickup trucks, and you know, they didn't want that kind of panic. So.
But now there's so many sightings and everything, and it seems like everything just goes like stuff is like recorded. Like I've seen them in different databases on, you know, on YouTube, not YouTube so much. But I do watch YouTube, but like on different sites, and it's like nothing is ever done or said. They don't make a big deal.
No.
They don't do anything.
Well, you have to be careful with UFO stuff on
YouTube
because there's a lot of Photoshop fake stuff.
Oh yeah.
And we can go all the way back to George Adamski.
Prior to the meeting.
And, you know, George Adamski's photos of spaceships were proven to be false. And he operated a hamburger stand down the road from Mount Palomar Observatory in California. And J. Allen Hynek and his astrophysicist colleagues would go up there and they'd stop off and get a burger and a Coke. And Adamski was trying to sell Hynek and his professor friends and his students pictures of the UFOs he took. Now all that stuff went to photo interpretation people, and they all said, no, this is fake. But the turning point for J. Allen Hynek was the 1966 Michigan sightings, where he went up there and he said, oh, it was swamp gas. And then Congressman Gerald Ford went ballistic. And on the floor of Congress, he was banging his hand on, the podium and demanding that there be full disclosure and a total investigation. And that's when J. Allen Hynek said, I'm out of here. And then he became a believer.
Well,
But then, what really screwed things up was the University of Colorado. In 1969, they released a report. And that report was headed by Richard J. Condon, who I believe was the dean. He did not believe in UFOs. There were scientists and other professional people that were part of that project, and they resigned in protest because he said, no, UFOs don't exist. And they knew otherwise. The Condon report.
Oh, yeah, that
Right,
was,
I heard of
that was all whitewashed, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely,
that was all
yeah,
whitewashed.
yeah.
Well, I believe like a lot of them now are like living amongst us, and some of them are like in disguise. That's just my personal.
We know one who lives in Ohio.
And
What's that?
and hopefully he's
Alien.
watching.
Yeah,
We
hopefully he's
know,
watching.
we know an alien.
but you can't really
An off-worlder.
differentiate. You can't really differentiate. Sometimes they could be like, in disguise or whatever as humans or.
I have somebody that
Well,
I'm
you know
friendly
what?
with online in Facebook, and they won't mention who it is,
Right.
but they even said, and this guy's legit. He says he has several people, several aliens on his Facebook friends.
And you know what? And in this day and age, with all the genetic manipulation, DNA,
Oh yeah.
probably half the population could be aliens. You know what I mean? If they've been manipulating our DNA.
The X-Files touched on this subject.
Yeah, I mean.
Remember the alien bounty hunter?
Well, what is
That
it?
was
The
going around
RH
killing the
negative, right?
clones?
The alien bounty hunters.
Yeah, the guy who bled bright green blood when Mulder shot him.
That,
Oh.
and remember the guy
Yeah, I
with
didn't
the
watch
black
that.
liquid coming out?
The X-Files.
What?
My wife too.
The X-Files, she liked it?
My wife
And he
loved
killed.
it.
He
It's
killed.
good.
There were 4 replicas of Mulder's adopted sister, Samantha.
Mm.
And he killed all 4 of them, this alien bounty hunter.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you with that RH negative blood type.
I don't know
I'm
how
not.
true it is.
I'm RH negative.
Well,
you know
that
what I
explains
mean?
a whole
and
shitload
I'm
for
not
everybody.
buying it. I got to be brutally honest because I did a lot of research on blood types, and RH negative is not the rarest blood type there is.
Which is the rarest.
Each continent has a different has a different type that's the rarest. You know what I mean? I think here it's B or something like that. I don't remember. I was looking at it just the other day. Just out of curiosity, I pulled it up. And but if you go through all the continents, there's different blood types are rarer, like in Africa or Europe or Asia. There's different blood types that are the rarest in that particular part of the world. So RH negative is not the rarest blood type in the world. So
I'm not monkeying with the light.
So what planet
my
do
wife was
what
saying,
planet do you
that
guys
it's
think
not as
Julio's
visible.
from?
we're too dark.
Yeah. So, say again?
What planet do you think Julio Barrera's from?
Uranus.
I've been to 2 of Nick Curto's Manhattan meetings.
Oh
so
yeah, I know Nick
we're
Curtis.
talking.
He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, well, we're talking, and I said, he said something about a CE5 up by Cleopatra's Needle. He'd like to do it in the weather's one. I said, you ever heard of a guy by the name of Julio Barrera? Without blinking an eyelash. I threw him out of the meeting.
Yeah.
I used to be very.
He
into
wouldn't
the New York
shut
meeting.
up, Nick said. After Nick has someboody sharing for an hour, and then they take questions. Like the last meeting I went to, he had this guy who wrote a book called, John Noble, he's from London, wrote a book called A Guide to Remote Viewing.
Okay.
And he was highly interesting. I mean, Nick has some great speakers. And then he opened it up, and I talked to him about Ingo Swann and some of the other remote viewers, and he reiterated some of the cases in Ann Jacobson's book Phenomena,
Okay.
which was fascinating, and I heartily recommend that book because some of the things those people did. But he said, Julio just would not shut up, and he said, you need to leave and not come back.
Well, you know what?
He's not a bad guy.
No,
he's
he's
not a
not.
bad
Well,
guy.
you're not a bad guy, but you
He's
just don't know when
Yeah.
to stop pushing your luck. I mean, when there was the other meeting that we used to have, the meetup group with Paul.
Yeah, he would
the
grab
you know,
him, and a couple of
He'd
women
come
pushed
in
in.
and
Yeah,
you know what?
Get
Paul
your hands off me.
Paul gave him a forum and was, like, okay, whatever you say, Paul didn't believe everything, and I'm not speaking
Paul
for
didn't
Paul.
believe in 90%
Paul, you
of
want
what
to
he
come in
said.
and speak, you can speak. You're always welcome. But give him a forum, and then all Julio did was beat him up. And I said, you know what? Don't, the guy that's helping you out and giving you a forum, and now you're talking negative about this guy. Don't ever do that.
Yeah.
I went right back at him. I forgot what it was. And then when he tried to come here and he's trying to prove, look, bottom line is, it's constellations and stars. It's not aliens.
No.
And if they're following you that much, we had a huge field over there by the old library. Let the fucking thing land right there. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you even better than that. It doesn't even have to land. Have it come down to about 300 feet off the ground.
And take you up in a tractor beam.
But I don't. It was, there was some people at the meeting, nice people, but definitely in need of help. And he starts with the Cleopatra needle, and there's a lot of stuff about that needle, and then globally. But I don't know how. I just don't believe all the crap that he was spewing. Some people believe they see stuff on YouTube, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Bob, if you're watching, which I don't know if you're online or not, Bob Michaels. Bob Michaels, I remember the sports extras, sports on Sunday, whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember Bob Michaels.
He did a presentation there. And, it's like, I only need 3 hours and about a half an hour for questions. I don't want to sit there for 3 hours to have you go through YouTube videos, which you want a specific response. You're getting the response, and you just sit there and you're like with a little cheesy grin on your face. If you don't believe that we went to the moon, don't believe it. I
actually believe that he believes we did go to the moon.
No,
you know him better than all of us.
Who's that?
Does he believe that we went to the moon?
Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did every time, but I know on several occasions they saved like $167 billion, and let's just throw them at Disneyland.
Well, you gotta understand something.
Did anybody see First Man?
No, I didn't.
Not yet,
no.
I believe that we
No.
went there. I
Yeah, I wanna
definitely believe we
see
went there.
that,
I know
yeah.
I know people that worked in that program, and I've known them my entire life. And literally worked in mission control the whole thing. I mean, it was so. I believe we went there, but I do believe we also had a backup plan. Hell, if this doesn't work, we better have some video or something like that. So let's go film. And then if over time, bits and pieces got out of both, and now you can't tell what's real and what's fake.
Well,
And that's
Russians
just my
never
personal.
You can if you look at the pictures on the landing pods and stuff. There's no dust blowing all around. I mean,
It's not only that. It's like, how do you have a picture of a pod landing? Who the hell was down there?
Who was down there filming? Yeah.
Right. Or,
Did you drop somebody down off of a rope to film you coming?
Just
down?
jump.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean that was the first thing that popped into my head.
Yeah, like-
Who the hell is filming it landing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
Well,
it's
they claimed there was cameras on the outside.
That gets you to a certain point,
But-
and then
yeah,
after
but
that,
you can't. Even if cameras are on the outside, you can't shoot like 90 degrees straight up from underneath. You know what I mean?
No, you got to be
on the
underneath.
ground.
I've read so many books about the entire U.S. space program.
Yeah.
And,
How about the secret space program?
well, that's what I'm looking to get into, yeah. But, I mean,
our Space
we
Force
couldn't have gone to
is the
all
best.
that expense and faked all that stuff. You remember that neo-Nazi guy, that guy Nick, the Holocaust denier? He brought in photographs showing that we never who, went there. There's people that don't believe that there's an international space station. And
There's still people that believe.
Well, there's two space
Bob,
stations.
what's his
Sorry, I
name?
just don't. I mean, how can you
Larry?
believe the world's
He
flat?
brought in a video once to Paul's group, and you had a physicist saying, well, if you get a telescope, you can get on the internet and find out when the International Space Station is going over wherever you live,
Absolutely.
and you could see it.
There's so many guys. We know like 3 or 4 of them on YouTube right now who have the most amazing stuff to film. I mean, you could see the alien bases inside the crater of the moon. That's how good
Where's
their
this?
stuff is.
Right.
They're on YouTube. It's P&K Space Imaging.
And what's Mark D'Antonio's one too? Mark D'Antonio's got
Oh,
one.
Ron Garan, he's a Yonkers resident. He was on the International Space Station. The guy was an astronaut.
I'm just saying that. I mean, there are so many things you could just go on and look and see these incredible shots of the solar system.
They're under the I think moniker of P&K
Ingo
Science.
Swan said he stopped being a remote viewer for the government because he saw alien spacecraft and aliens on other planets in the solar system. Like, there's a lot of conjecture about Io and Europa, 2 of Jupiter's moons, that they may be able to sustain life on those planets.
Right.
Yep. I mean, like they do like 5-6 hours worth of video with the moon telescopes and
Proxima Centauri B is only 4.2 light years from the Earth.
And our good buddy Bill Skywatcher.
Yep, Billy Skywatcher.
New York Skywatcher.
But these guys, P&K Science, I mean, like they rival a ton of stuff, even from NASA.
I was just gonna say they rival NASA.
They really do
stuff.
rival NASA.
Their
I'm gonna bring it up in a
equipment is
second. People
mind-boggling.
just gotta get rid of this commercial.
And then you got Mark D'Antonio, and you got Bill's New York Skywatcher. All of these people have amazing cameras and stuff that
like here, I'm just gonna bring it up. They're right here. I mean, these guys are really, really good at what they do. Actually, there was a couple of times when we were doing the Bill stuff, and they caught craft going right across the screen, and it was insane.
Yeah, our friend Bill, he's got this one craft that comes down, stops dead, and then does like a 360 and shoots off. It's just the maneuvers it does is insane.
Right. So what people are watching now on Facebook is some video from
P&K.
P&K. There's also Mark D'Antonio, who is basically he's the
What's
video.
Pete?
Pete,
Paul
and Keith.
Keith, space imaging, yeah.
Right. There's a whole bunch of people, even globally, that they kind of hook their telescopes up with each other, and they just.
There's a whole network of people now, yeah.
I mean, some of it's, I have a P900, and I could shoot pretty much the craters of the moon, no problem. These guys do a better
Well,
job.
like I said a few months ago,
Mark D'Antonio's got an observatory in his backyard.
the whole face of the moon, it looked like ping pong balls were shooting up.
Ping pong balls.
Zooming.
You said
Well, they
ping
looked
pong
like
balls.
ping pong
Right,
balls.
shooting up out of the
Yeah,
craters.
they were, well, it looked like marbles in that content, because you see in this thing it's 240,000 miles away, allegedly. I didn't measure it, so that's what they tell me. But some nights it looks a lot closer than that. You know,
some nights it does look a lot closer.
it looks like it's in Brooklyn.
So
It looks like you could reach it with a helicopter.
the next group. I mean, this guy Mark is absolutely fantastic.
Fantastic. You listen to his broadcast.
Yeah.
It's like being
Sky Tour live stream with Mark
being
D'Antonio.
with a professor in the university. Mark is phenomenal.
And where's he located?
He actually lives in Connecticut.
He's in Connecticut.
Yeah.
But he is so knowledgeable. I love watching people just sit there and basically, you remember that scene in Indiana Jones when they open up the Ark and their face starts melting? That's basically what happens to most people there, because he is just, I mean, and not that he dumbs it down, but he tries to make it more accessible to people. But it's so intense, his knowledge, it's incredible. So
and he's got like.
Did anybody ever
Top
read a
secret
book called
clearance
Dark
with the
Moon, The
Navy.
Secret History of NASA? I believe Richard
No.
Hoagland was one of the authors.
Richard
And
Hoagland.
he talks about this 1.5 mile high structure
Yeah.
on the dark side of the moon,
Yeah.
shard, steel and glass.
Yeah.
Now, the Chinese put a lander on the dark side of the moon. I haven't seen any photographs of that.
Well,
Well,
I'll let you know a little secret.
none of the shots show that. They don't show any structures like that, at least the ones that I've looked at.
When did the Chinese land on the dark side of the moon? This just
They
happened.
just
to
did.
Not long ago.
Maybe a
They-
month
they-
ago.
Yeah, they put a lander on.
So-
But
the
everything
side.
is censored, so to speak.
Well,
Oh, yeah, the Chinese
here's the
are
thing, when China was doing it, China doesn't care. When they were landing, there was a blackout for a specific period, and people were questioning that. Kind of like every time they go by the International Space Station, some craft, there's like, oh, we lost our feed.
Yeah.
You know, please have a smoke from Laramie. Remember those 1958? It's like, you know,
Well, when the
TV
Soviet
cigarettes are
Union
great.
was launching space probes, they never released any information until the cosmonauts landed safely in the Soviet Union. Because by the early 60s, ham radio operators around the world, and these are probably the same guys that picked up the transmissions from Buzz Aldrin in Apollo 11, that they saw a huge alien spacecraft on the other side of the crater. They picked up transmissions from ground control of the Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan with Soviet cosmonauts. 1961, they put up a woman and two men, and the woman is saying to ground control, "Why aren't you answering us? Our oxygen is almost completely exhausted." And in the cold of space, if you die orbiting the Earth, until that orbit deteriorates and you burn up in the atmosphere, those bodies are perfectly preserved.
Yeah, but
And there was about 15 to 20 Soviet cosmonauts that died in the early 60s.
I'm sure
Because
they
you have to understand, the Soviet Union's electronic industry is a generation behind ours. So, I mean, we were flying by the seat of our pants
Well, yeah, because they
Mercury,
like the old tube
Gemini,
setup.
and Apollo. I mean, you know, the whole thing with the fire in Apollo 1, they had 1,400 skinned electrical connections. North American Aviation did a shitty job. North American Aviation got the contract over 4 other aerospace companies to do those capsules. And do you remember Bobby Baker?
Yeah.
He was Lyndon Johnson's bag man.
Right.
He was involved in getting North American Aviation to get that contract. They used 50 times as much Velcro in the interior of the Apollo 1 capsule that they were supposed to. Velcro is highly flammable. And then with 100% oxygen environment, and then with the fact it took almost 10 minutes to open the hatches, the guys on the gantry were frantically trying to open those hatches up. Their fingers were burned and they were wearing protective gloves. So what they did after the investigation, because they had a duplicate, they put it aside, the burned out capsule, in a hangar, and they went through everything. And like, come on, man. Do you know that the engineers and technicians building the Apollo capsules, they cut for lunch at North American's plant in California? They go across the street to a bar to get a burger and drink beer. NASA administrators put a stop to that shit. Come on, you're working on, you know, come on, you can't go
Maybe they
back
didn't believe
after
in
a
the
couple
project.
of beers and a Boilermaker. You know, I mean, you
Absolutely
can't do
not.
that, man.
see aliens not doing it.
You know,
Does it surprise me? No, absolutely not. No.
And, you know, I mean,
you know what's funny
practically
about the,
every Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo mission, you had problems. But that's why they have so many engineers at NASA. Because when Apollo 13 happened, and that mishap, they said, well, build this pipe with the rubber tubing you got, plastic tubing, and you could take oxygen from the lunar landing module to get you back home. And that's, if you saw the movie, that's exactly what they did. But that's because they had 25, 30 engineers in a room. All right, guys, how are we going to solve this problem?
Right. Absolutely.
you know, and some of the far-fetched ideas are ones that work very, very well, you know, for this. One of the problems they had with plastics back then is they didn't realize that they're very susceptible to static electricity.
Yeah.
So think about that. You have static electricity in a full oxygen
Yeah, that's
environment, yeah.
It's not good.
boom. You know, I mean, like, there's no way. It's insane. But just so you know, I'm talking about,
Corpus Christi, Texas is calling.
yeah, apparently, and he's here. Welcome.
Sorry.
Not a problem. Hey, look, everybody has
Glad to
things
see
to
you.
do. So just so you know, thanks Dave for this. There are 3 new shows coming to the Travel Channel. And 3 new shows. So one's called Portals to Hell, and another one's called Mission Declassified and America on Earth. And Jack Osborne and his host Katrina
Yeah.
are doing the Portals from Hell.
Portals to Hell, yeah.
I gotta be
heard
honest,
that.
when he did that Jack Osborne paranormal project with him and that
Other girl.
who
other
is
girl, yeah.
fantastic, and the other 2 people. No, it was a great show. He did a great job
What
with
cable
it.
network is this?
Travel Channel.
Travel Channel?
And then they have Scott Walter's going to be up there too for the America on Earth, and he does a great
Love
job
Scott Walters.
of
Amazing
like breaking
stuff.
it all down. He just there's no ands, ifs, or buts about the whole thing. He knows exactly what he's doing from a scientific, anthropological type point of view.
He's phenomenal. Yeah,
And he does think outside the box every once in a while. So these could be really, really good shows because frankly, as far as this whole subject matter is concerned, I think there's a lot of disappointing stuff on TV and the internet. A lot of it. You know, it's like, why do you half of the stuff you don't need anymore. And I think Nick came, sorry Nick. And from what I understand, also the guys from Ghost Hunters. Ghost Hunters? Yeah. Jason.
Okay.
I think he's coming back with a program. He's kind of getting restless anyway. I think he's doing a new program now too. So I don't know how many more shows we
Oh,
got.
I know what I wanted to ask Al and Brian. Are you gonna be giving any presentations up at Pine Bush?
No. I actually have a wedding that day. I can't
All
make
right.
Pine Bush.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Making that girl honest.
What's going on in Pine Bush, if you don't mind me asking?
They have a UFO festival
December
up there every
18th.
year.
May.
Oh,
May?
May. Sorry about that.
May
Forgot about
18th.
that.
Okay.
It's a
May 18th.
Saturday in May. I could be wrong. It might be the 18th.
No,
It is the
It's
18th.
the
It's May
18th.
18th.
I'll tell you
I
what.
got a wedding, that's why I know. but
Pine Bush is
I was
in
gonna go to
northern
Pine
Orange
Bush.
County.
Yeah, I have a place up there.
And, it has, they feel there's some kind of gravitational vortex. It's an epicenter for UFO sightings and high strangeness. And Al and Brian did an investigation of a house where an abortionist doctor used to live. And a few women died while he gave illegal abortions.
Oh.
And there's some definite high strangeness there, guys.
Yeah, there's
You wanna
definitely some
fill him
strange
in a
stuff
little
going on
more?
in that
Yeah, that
place.
house, we did that house 2 years in a row, and that house was crazy.
Well, do you remember when
Did they ever
after you
sell it?
finished your
they
presentation
made
on
a,
the
they
ground
made a, they
floor?
made a museum out of it now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a paranormal museum now. I'm sorry, what were you
Do
saying?
you remember last year, after you finished your presentation on the ground floor,
Okay.
you 2 guys, and me and Rosie were talking to you, and then we heard footsteps upstairs, and you looked at each other, let's go upstairs, there's supposed to be nobody there. And Rosie like,
No, you couldn't go upstairs. It has upstairs blocked off.
I'll go outside and get a slice of pizza, I'll meet you outside.
No, they had
And the 3 of
upstairs.
us went up there, and we didn't find anybody, but we heard heavy footsteps going up the stairs to the 2nd floor. What the hell is going on here?
They cut that off because there's a couple of spots there. I don't know if they fixed it.
No, they never fixed it.
There's holes in the
Dangerous,
floor there.
dangerous.
It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
We had with what's his name that used to come here to the meeting from Long Island. He was out of control.
Mario?
Not Mario.
You know Mario?
Yeah, we know
From
Mario.
Long Island?
Yeah, Mario.
Yeah, well, Queens, Long Island.
Yeah, Queens.
I was just emailing him last night.
Yeah, we know Mario.
He gave a pretty good presentation last time I saw him. And then he went outside because he couldn't take it anymore, and then his mom started singing.
Opera.
So it was kind of like surreal. Like, what the
At a
hell's going on?
library.
Yeah, which was good, but
Yeah.
it's not the.
No, Mario's a fun guy. Yeah,
He is.
absolutely. Yeah, fun guy, yeah.
He needs some help over at his place, but I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a pleaser. That's what it is. Yeah, I'm sure as hell is a pleaser. But One of the things.
Tell him about what happened last year at the CE5.
Okay,
we did a
so-
CE5
so
last year
it will
in
do-
Pine Bush.
Yeah.
We
okay.
had so many people show up. We were so
Here's the deal.
tired.
So
we did 4 presentations
yeah.
last year. We were so tired that we were praying no one would show up. We just wanted to go home.
I mean,
there were cars everywhere.
He
waiting
lived
for
close
us.
enough to the place where it's a lot closer than I did. You know, I'm in the city.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where we're listening to actually D'Antonio and Cheryl Costa.
Yes.
And I'm tired. And like there was this one mother-daughter team there, and I was like, I kind of wanted not to do a C5. I was so tired. I just wanted to go home.
And I was doing chemo last year too.
So
I was white.
So him and I were just like,
Yeah.
we got a burger. It took us like 9 hours just to get a slice, and then we went and we got something to eat. And but you know, when you're up all day and then you get something to eat, what happens? You know, you're
tired.
you start you start not enough. You know.
Yep.
So we do this. There's 2 people there. I said, you know what? Our luck. Hopefully, we'll get there, and there won't be anybody.
Then
we
our
get
phones
there.
started blowing up because
75 people were there.
Everybody at the presentation with Mark D'Antonio and Rosemary and Guiley, everybody was.
Yeah.
We're all asking them how to get to the C5. So they were calling us on our phones to give directions. And it was like, but we made contact.
Well,
made contact.
we're doing this, and you know, you gotta understand.
Mind-boggling.
It was one of those nights where it was a little bit of a chill in the air, but it was still like sultry.
Yeah.
So that there's some little bit of fog, very little, but enough to kind of like screw around with the lenses. We had German TV there. They left.
Oh yeah, the
way
German
too
TV. I
early.
forgot about them. Yeah.
7 TV7. So we get there. There's about 60 people there, and then we
Easy.
waited, and people like beeping the horn. So
Cops came with directed traffic. It was
Right.
insane.
So we're sitting there in this field, and I was like, no, do your show.
Yeah, because first of all, I was
Yeah.
exhausted, and B, he was going to walk everybody through the meditation and all the whole 9
So
yards.
you know, you got to try to calm down people, you know, and clear your head, because we want to, with the C5, you want to get everybody on board,
Everybody's gonna be thinking
consciously
the same
asking
thing,
these aliens or these entities to make contact with you. And I'm getting everybody calm, and everybody's, you know, like about half an hour, we do this whole meditation and breathe and whatever. And I'm sitting where, like basically where Al is, and Al's like kind of off to my side, and then we start noticing where the patterns are for traffic.
Yeah,
and
a
you
lot
can
of
see,
traffic.
you can see probably 50 or 60 miles in every
Yeah,
direction.
it was nice. It was a beautiful night. You could
Right.
actually see the mountains in the
In the
Catskill
distance.
Mountains in the distance because there was that much starlight and moonlight and everything.
Yeah, and
You
there was
could
a little bit of
actually see-
light pollution. So it's lighting
not a
stuff
lot
up,
of light
but,
pollution. No.
you know, you're seeing planes, and you say, okay, well, now we know the directions of Stewart
Stewart's.
Airport is, you know, like
Yep.
where they're going to
Yep.
come from. And I'm sitting there, and I kind of hear this ruckus, and I'm thinking, there's a couple of kids over because it's near this baseball field park. I'm like, they're probably drinking and getting drunk, like, and they're making all this hoot and hollering and stuff.
In the woods, yeah.
And I'm about to ask them, like, do you hear that hoot and hollering? And one of the people goes, does anybody else hear that owl?
Yeah, it sounded like an owl. It sounded like a hoop.
And then you start,
Yeah.
I mean, it was loud. And the next thing you know, I shit you not, this huge craft comes out, and it's darker than the night sky, and in the center is what I looked at. I remembered it as a hexagonal type of light, domed light, and it just goes, and everybody's just like, oh, they're in awe.
And I had a tactical flashlight, so it was doing like a Morse code.
Yep,
Yeah,
and it was
And
repeating
it
it
was
back.
doing it right back to us. And they kept getting brighter and brighter. And by the time the 3rd flash would go off, it lit the whole sky up
Yep.
like a giant bolt of lightning. I mean, you could see the mountains, and it was going from mountain peak to mountain
It was
peak
doing
in a
maneuvers.
blink of an eye. It was going. I mean, it had to be traveling 50 miles from one mountaintop to the other in a second,
Right.
and it would stop, and then it would come back, and it would do more, and then it disappear, and then it would come back.
And then it stopped for a couple minutes, and we're like, you know, we know you're here. We thank you for coming. Can you give us another burst, one more burst? And it stopped for a second. The next thing you know, it went on and off. It was. Let me tell you
People were
something.
giving us a
People got their
standing
money that
ovation.
night.
Like we actually
That's
did it.
I mean, it was.
My parents have a
Amazing.
summer house in Ellenville, and it's
Okay.
deep in the woods.
Okay.
There's no pollution whatsoever.
No, absolutely
Yeah.
not. No,
So
no.
as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. And I had a 7-summer house in Ellenville, and I was in its deep in the woods. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So as I'm on the deck looking up, it's just dark but stars. So I'm looking up, and I've seen this in Yonkers before, above me. This was above me here. I look, and there's like a bright light. It just shoots, and then dims down. And I'm like, I'm just looking at it, and it looks like a star, and it goes back to like looking like a star, and then it moves, and then it stops. And this is when I call my girlfriend, like, Bella, babe, get out here right now. Get out now. She's like, what? I'm like, just, I don't know, just wait. Maybe we'll see it again or so, or you'll see it. Okay. Boom, bright light. And then it just dims down again. And then it goes back to like where it positioned itself as a star.
Looked like a star, absolutely.
And then it moved. And then it just dimmed down, disappeared. And then I'm like, babe, you saw that, right? She's like, I did.
Yeah.
And then a brighter shot.
Boom.
And then it stopped, and then it made its way to look like a star, and it just sat there. And I was staring at it for like a good 40 minutes. And I'm like, you're not moving, aren't you? And it just looked like a star.
Just threw it apart and stayed there.
And I'm flipping
Go down
out.
to get beer.
I'm flipping out, and she's like, all right, I'm going inside now. I'm like, I can't. I can't go inside.
No, absolutely not.
And this is not the first time I've seen anything like this, but she's like, why are you still so enamored by all this after all these years? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just
Because I can't explain
it
it.
hits a chord.
Where
It just
was
touches
this?
a chord.
Ellenville, up in the Catskills, near
Oh,
Pine
sure,
Bush, literally
yeah.
at 30 minutes from Pine Bush, not even.
You know, a clear night, you can see plenty of stars.
If you get that up there, and then you get stuff down here, you know, I mean, I want to talk about tagging and bagging people.
Yeah.
But I saw the same thing above my parents' house when I was coming home late at night. I went to my parents' house, and I just, every time I get out of my car or I go into my car from the house or anything, I look up. I always have a tendency to look up. All right, well, you know what? When I looked up, bright light, and zoom right back in. Like a giant, like someone turned a big flashlight on and then turned it off, but slowly dimmed back. I'm like, come on. What is this?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
But this is what I've been dealing with like the last 9-10 years.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's a frustrating thing to be researching and dealing with, especially if you have some of these experiences. And no disrespect to Julio, but these are valid experiences versus his imaginary stuff. The best is when Dan was arguing with Julio. You weren't there for that meeting.
No, I missed that one. Yeah.
Which had the HBO rights on that one. Dan from
Dan
wherever.
Travis.
Yeah, Dan Travers. Yeah.
And Dan is, I'm sorry, Dan, but if you don't believe what Dan thinks, then you're wrong. And I'm not going to go there. I believe everybody's entitled to their beliefs.
I have
that's
credible evidence. I have videos.
No, yeah.
I mean,
you
this
posted a couple of videos
all
actually,
YouTube.
round table and stuff.
Yeah.
So you get we'll go try to find some of them
Yeah,
as well.
pull them up, absolutely. Look
But
at
you know, if you tell me the YouTube channel, we'll just
Yeah,
go to
it was.
that.
Do you guys know that YouTube channel, Third Phase of the Moon?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
That's a little
Right.
fishy.
Right, that's what I say. But this guy did like a whole special on the video. He contacted me. He's like, "Can I put you in my thing? Because I want to throw it up." I'm like, I need people to see this. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
Sure, take the video, dude. Look at it, spread it.
You know, look, everything's fishy, and you know, I think there's a lot of stuff online where you'll have like 10% real
I think
videos.
when they first
70s,
came out,
we
they
don't know what the hell
were
it is.
really legit, and then as they started to get bigger, I guess
It was like dying off, and they needed stuff.
they had
Yeah.
to, which
People
the
started
word
making
I'm
revenue
looking
on
for.
it.
He was a guest on Coast to Coast a few weeks ago.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
So,
Tyler.
what's your channel?
It's gonna be Nick Zach 1.
One thing, Nick Zach.
Zach number 1.
Al, more on the paranormal
ZAK.
thing.
Sorry, ZAK.
You guys shared a couple of years ago at the old meeting about there's an old Nike missile base in Orangeburg, New York, and you speak to a psychic. And the psychic told you
No,
don't
it wasn't a
go.
missile base. It was an ammunition depot.
Okay, and they told you don't go
Don't
there
go there.
because
There's a
there's
bunch.
evil spirits.
Okay.
Now, what would happen if you showed up there with a large crucifix and some holy water?
We have.
She
You wouldn't take a chance.
She said that this Wendigo,
There's what?
it was a Wendigo, because they were built in the Ramapo Mountains, was where the Ramapo Indians was, and she didn't know what it was, and I said, describe it to me, and I said, it sounds like a Wendigo, and she's like, well, what the hell
what
is
is
a
that?
Wendigo? So I sent her a picture of it, and she's like, oh my God, that's exactly, it actually followed her to her house in Arkansas. And she had problems getting rid of it for a long time. She finally got rid of it, but
What is a Wendigo?
It's a Native American
Skinwalker.
demon, for lack of a better definition. It's a Native American demon. Can take the shape of anything it wants, but usually it's a pretty scary looking creature with horns and stuff. And she said it chased her from she called them caves, because she says, I don't know where the hell you guys are going, but I'm seeing a bunch of different caves, and there's something in there that's chasing me from one cave to the other.
Probably an old Indian burial ground.
Well, I don't know when the Army went in there in the 40s to build those ammunition depots to store ammunition, if it was sacred American land at the time, you know what I mean? And they just went in and they said, we're going to build them here to store ammunition for the East Coast in case something happens. And they just went in and did what they did. And so I don't know, but she also said that kids had gone in there and done devil worshiping and stuff like that as well.
That'll bring something up for sure. Come
Yeah.
on.
It's always the devil worshippers.
So she said don't go in there, so we never did.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, no, it was. Just,
Yeah, it was like, you
Well,
know.
she says don't go somewhere, and it followed her home, and she's took her a long time to get rid of it. I don't go.
Well,
She
that's
said,
why
"Don't
you
go."
were the guys that said, don't play with a Ouija board.
Yeah, we don't want to play with
Yeah.
Ouija boards either. Absolutely not.
I don't mess around.
I didn't burn mine, I still got it.
Oi.
They said not to
I was
burn
at a
it,
house party last year after you guys shared about that. And somebody said, oh, you got a Ouija board? And I said, no. So we had a bonfire going. My friend went upstairs, got the Ouija board, and we threw it on the fire. And all kinds of crazy flames
Well, yeah,
came
did it
out.
burn a different color? It probably burnt a different color too. It didn't burn a regular color.
Yeah, it did.
I'm dealing with a family now that
Sorry. I'm just trying to
has
find the
something
video.
attached itself
Oh,
to the guy's
yeah.
wife and his
I'm gonna
daughter
see if I can
because they did a seance and they opened the door and they brought something in.
Ugh.
So now I'm dealing with them, trying to, I hooked them up with a shaman
It's gonna look like that.
who's trying to not only
That's what.
get the detachment off
I'm
of
just gonna
this
put it in
woman,
info here.
but close the door that he came in from, you know what I mean? I talked to the client today and the shaman, and things seem to be working out pretty well, because I had gone to a friend of mine's shop and picked up a bunch of healing stuff and protection stuff. And I also went to a Catholic
I found you,
store
and it's not that.
bought a lot
You
of
have
stuff
a
as well.
alchemist in front
And I
of
had
you.
everything blessed at the church yesterday.
Do you
Yesterday,
charge
Saturday.
for these services?
Hmm?
Do you charge for these
No.
services?
I mean, the guy wanted to pay me. He wanted to give me money for going, but I told him, I said, I'm just, because I brought a lot of stuff there, anyway, just stuff that I had in my bag. And I said, take this stuff now. And he actually told me, I told him to put kosher sea salt or kosher salt under his bed.
Yeah.
Because that's when they were being attacked at night when they were sleeping. And he woke up the next morning and he had a burn mark on his back, and he felt the bed, and the bed was hot. When he looked under the bed, he actually told me that the salt was like burning red. It was almost like on fire. It was,
Wow.
And I said, well, apparently the salt is working, because I said, now you should change that salt out and put a fresh one under there, So I went there. When I went there to interview the family, I actually brought kosher sea salt from the Dead Sea.
Good, yeah.
And I said, this is the good stuff, you know
Real
what I
deal.
mean? And I gave him that. I gave him some prayer cards that were blessed by the church and some holy water, and just Catholic stuff. But I also gave him frankincense and myrrh, and sage, and it just. But I wanted to go out and I wanted to attack this from two different sides, because I'm Catholic. I do everything, a lot of stuff Catholic, but I also wanted to do like the metaphysical side too. So I went to this woman who I know. She has a shop, and I bought a ton of stuff from her, and she gave me a ton of stuff. So even stuff that like I never heard of, and she just like, you gotta use this.
Like dragon's blood.
Yeah, she said she was trying to, but she said, you gotta use this stuff, and then she goes, you have to. She goes, I'm not gonna let you leave my store without this. And I said, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. She's like, I'm throwing it in the bag, Al, and she threw it in the bag anyway, you know what I mean? So I talked to the client today, and everything is getting better. And I wanted to make sure that A, everything was getting better at the house, and B, they were happy with the shaman that I had hooked them up with, because I know another guy who's a demonologist. He actually lives by you in Riverdale section of the Bronx. But I didn't feel like they were dealing with a demon, and our psychic didn't feel like they were dealing with a demon, and it felt like more there was something dark that came out of the woods across the street from their house that attached to them, like when they did the seance.
Yep.
And so the shaman that I hooked him up with, he's actually a Reiki master and a healer, and he's actually a demonologist too. He wears a lot of hats. But I just felt like this guy was a perfect fit for this family.
Well, it's close by too. You know, you want to be able to be close by.
And
Almost
so
noticed.
I talked to both of them today, and the shaman said everything is going great, and she taught them, because the wife and the daughter are very powerful psychics, and he's taught
Very
them
what?
powerful psychics, and he's teaching them how to ground themselves and teaching them how to block. So it's just stuff is not just coming in all the time, you know, like there's an open door. They open that door, now everything is just pouring through on them. And it's overwhelming them. But we're, you know, working things out. And I told them, I said, when the shaman is done, eventually the shaman's going to be done, then we're going to go in and we're going to do a once through a cleansing once and for all. And he actually has an office in a 200-year-old house in Hastings too that's haunted.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he said, when we're done here, we'll go to my office and we'll do my office as well. So I was like, okay.
I can't go to these locations because my girlfriend calls me a sponge. She's also a metaphysical.
Yeah, you can't.
She's an angelic intuitive, and she's intuitive herself, and she picks everything up from angels to demons to whatever is out there.
Yeah.
And she
That's a
comes
hell
in
of a
on everything,
story,
and she
yeah.
calls me a sponge because everything just attaches to me because like of my light.
Yeah.
Just attachment.
Yeah, no, it's funny because
But I want to go. I want to see
My,
it.
You wanna
my,
see it.
my
I feel the
brother
same
and my
way.
sister called me up and said, you know, you get hurt a lot on a job. I think maybe you have something attached to you from doing all this stuff for all these years.
Mhm.
You have to go to the church and get anointed. And I was laughing hysterical because I know I don't have anything attached to me. I've been getting hurt on the job for 30 years because that's just my nature of the job. So I said, okay. So I did. I went to the church and I got anointed with the oil, the holy oil and everything. But I also talked to 3 different psychics about this. And they all read about my concussion.
Is it?
Yeah, they all knew dealing something. They all picked out the concussion. Boom, boom, boom. And they're from all over the place. One is from England, one is from Arkansas, and one is from California. And they all picked out my concussion, and they all felt that I was a little down because I'm an up kind of guy. I see everything like positive, you know. And they said you're a little down right now. I said, yeah, I'm having issues at work, you know, with the boss and everything. But you know, but none of them seemed anything attached to me, and I didn't feel like there was anything attached to me because I get gut feelings, you know what I mean? I just get like, we've been on investigations where I'll get this metallic taste in my mouth. I'll get this pressure in my head.
I get
My
that
teeth will start tingling.
pressure by the ears immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know.
Ringing.
You can feel it. Like, it's
Yeah.
like your eardrum just like kind of vibrates. Like when something goes past you, you're like, okay.
Yep.
But I got anointed anyway, just to make
Yes.
make my brother and my sister happy. You
Is
know?
it the blessing?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, but
Because you know when he does it to me when we go on
So
investigation.
what you're saying
I just
is
scream, "It burns."
seances are not a
He always
good
has the
idea.
birds on hit him with holy water.
Like if I got together with a couple of friends of mine and tried to have a seance to contact a deceased relative or a friend, it's not a good idea.
No, because that's exactly what this family did. This woman's favorite uncle had passed away, and the husband didn't really take it seriously. He
Right.
thought it was more of like a
Focus
joke.
BS. you know?
And they did it, and they had to move 3 separate times,
Right.
and they still had issues. They go away on vacation to Europe, South America, cross
So it's
country,
attached to them.
and they still have issues. I told them, I said, I can come to your house and cleanse till the fucking cows come home, but it's not going to do anything because someone's got an attachment, and until the attachment is broken, there's no sense of cleansing. You know,
They live in an apartment, correct? If I remember.
Yes.
So here's another problem you have, right? Because I have it in mine. My apartment's at Grand Central Station, and Cindy has always said, he goes,
Yeah.
"Get the hell out of that apartment." And it's just, you can't do anything. There's so much negative energy because you're living in an environment with like so many people, and everybody brings their own emotions in. Some people have a bad day, some people have a good day. So until you get out, you can't cleanse nothing. The best you can do is envision a white golden light, God, bubbles surrounds you and protects you. And that's, there's other things you can do with it. But some people in my building, I know they played around with stupid things. No, I know it.
So they
I
were
mean, we played
tracking
around with a
little
Ouija
things.
board when I was younger because Milton Bradley sells them. And of
Oh
course
yeah, it's a board game,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
They-
Milton
they-
Bradley sold a
yeah.
9mm. It's good.
Hey,
Fine.
my aunt was a white witch. You know what I mean? And I remember not necessarily her doing it, but my cousins, sitting around the tables doing seances when we were kids.
Yep.
Probably not knowing what the hell we were doing. Probably not contacting anything, but still we did it. I had one time I had an issue where I thought that someone had put the evil eye on me. And I was dealing with this negativity for a long time. And I eventually went to my aunt and I said, can you do something? And she did whatever she did. And she said, yeah, you definitely got something on you. Somebody definitely put something on you. And she actually took it off. She was able to take it off. But she's passed now. I don't have a white witch in the family anymore, so I'd be very careful.
I just don't think it's a smart idea to play with Ouija boards. Or people will tell you that these phonetic generators are the same. I don't believe of them as being the same.
No, it's not.
Because it's just there's a dictionary there, 70,000 words. You're not doing anything but turning it on. You're not instructing it or saying anything. It just comes up.
It's not your energy.
No.
It's energy.
It's
moving
It's
basically
that
energy
shit.
manipulating energy.
It's the intention that you put out.
100%. So I don't play around with Ouija boards. I think they're dangerous. My brother-in-law, when he bought a house in New Jersey, they found a Ouija board. I said, take that shit outside back and burn it, and then salt the ground.
Guys, my mom played with it when she lived in Brooklyn, and after they played with it, they saw shadows in the house. No one was home. Shadow go into my sister's room. My sister was only
Because you don't know you're
3
opening
months
up.
old sleeping. There was a shadow that walked in and out of the room. Come on, it's real.
You're giving me goosebumps just talking about it.
You
Absolutely.
just don't know what you're opening up.
No, you don't know
You know,
who you're
Rosebud.
talking to. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't know. They'll tell you whatever, especially if it's evil. They'll say, yeah,
They'll
it's
tell you
your
whatever you
cousin
want to
Nick.
hear. Absolutely.
It's your cousin Nick and Aunt Jen and Joan and whatever.
They contacted a friend that passed away, and they asked, should we be doing this? Because they knew it was wrong, but they asked that. Spirit goes, tell Steve to stop smoking. My uncle was smoking. He put that cigarette down immediately. And then they asked the question again. And he said, yes, you should not be playing with this. It's a sin.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily.
That's what I
said.
Everybody's different depending on what their
But-
particular belief system is. I'm not gonna tell you it's right or wrong. Some people definitely do believe
And
it's
then
a
it
sin.
started cursing. And cursing.
Really?
And cursing.
Wow.
Well, because
Yeah.
Sure wasn't my father?
yeah, no.
My father, all my real word out of my father's mouth was a curse.
The problem is like someone was talking about this recently, and they said, when you go someplace, we're right here, we're being bombarded by multiple frequencies, right? But when you like radio station, if you have a radio, you're tuning it in. Until you tune into 92.3 or 104.7, you're not hearing anything. You're hearing multiple things. That's what you have to do. You have to tune into these things. But the problem is, you're not tuning into a classic rock station, or you just don't know what you're tuning into. And I always said to people like, well, when you go home tonight, are you going to lock your door? Yeah. Well, then don't play with a Ouija board.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't lock the door.
No.
Depending on how big and powerful it is. And then I'll say it again. If you're playing around with something and it's demonic or that evil side of whatever, they don't play games. It's not. You'll know. Everybody says that everything's demonic, but you'll know because you'll probably be hurting a lot of people.
People are afraid of what they don't understand. So, if something attaches to them that it doesn't necessarily have to be demonic, if they're afraid of it, they've already made that decision in their mind that it's evil.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, then you can't convince them otherwise.
You remember a few years ago in Nyack, these people were being attacked at night. They had scratches on their bodies.
Didn't Linda Zimmerman do that case?
I think she did.
She did do that case. Linda Zimmerman did that case.
Linda or Rosemary.
I think it was Linda. But go ahead, finish your
They,
thought. Go ahead.
no matter who they called in, they were still there. So they abandoned the house, and they hired people to verify that this was real. It wasn't like imaginary. And they had, on video, you see dishes flying and paintings coming off the walls and all kinds of stuff happening. And it's
Poltergeist activity.
right, exactly. And the bank was coming after them, and they said, "Well, look at these tapes.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
wrong."
go ahead. Go.
It was
yeah,
not
repossessed.
Enjoy.
What happened was the original owner did not disclose that the house had spirits,
Right.
and that's part of it.
Yeah, you have to change. I think that law changed right now. I think you have to disclose.
Yeah, that law,
Oh, yeah.
New York State, I think, was the first state in the country to come up with that law that states you have to disclose if the house is.
You know what? How do you know?
You know what I mean?
Or
That's
people
on the
die,
books.
that's gnarly.
That's on the books. New York, and yeah, people don't want to believe that spirits exist.
Right.
But if you look at the books, it says if you sell a house that's haunted, you got to tell the people.
Yeah.
If it doesn't exist, why would they make that law?
Murder took place in the house or something like that,
Yeah.
you have to tell them and all that.
Well, remember when we someone contacted you, and then you had Cindy do a reading, and I did a reading, and I started talking about things I'm seeing underneath and downstairs in the
That
basement.
was the one down
That
in
was
the
someone
city.
looking at a house. So that was, I don't know
Oh,
who
that
it
was
was
the
for.
house upstate.
Yeah.
Yes.
and I started going into what I saw in the place,
Yes.
and that's when I was first playing around with what you can do as far as anybody has an ability or whatever. And Cindy was Cindy didn't know what I was saying, and
No.
she didn't know what I didn't know what she was saying. But at the end, we verified everything we were saying, and they didn't buy the house.
No, they didn't buy the house. Yeah.
But I definitely would.
My wife wanted to drive by that house in the worst way. She was I'm like, no, I'm not even going through the driveway. I don't want nothing to do with that.
It's really weird. You see things taking place, or you see bodies carcasses that are buried on the land, and it's native, it's sacrificial, it's children, it's animals. Then you can see people underneath it's really weird. Like you're looking through floorboards, and no one knows. Like you're in a kitchen, and that's how I was looking. I'm like I could see up into the dining room area. I said that 90% of the activity is coming from here.
Yeah, I think the house was like in Red Hook or something like that. Yeah.
Remember Stephen King's movie, Pet Cemetery?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I must have at least 20 animals buried in my backyard since the early 50s. So I'm saying, if I sell a house, do I leave the animals or I take them with me?
Oh boy.
I know. I got a bunch of cats buried in
So-
my backyard too. With their
Now,
collars and their
what
leashes.
happens is that when things are buried, they actually push up to the surface.
Yeah.
And it was like last summer, I was raking in the yard, and all of a sudden, it's part of this plastic bag is coming up. I said, wait a minute, I encapsulated that dog in concrete. How is this plastic coming out of that thing?
Wow. That's crazy.
So what'd you end up doing?
So I just threw some more soil on. I said, I'm not moving this thing. I said, it's
Let's
staying
start
here.
digging. Let's get it down a little bit deeper.
And mine's over in Hartsdale.
I mean, it's expensive.
Yeah, I have a dog
If
in
you take an
Hartsdale,
animal
too.
to a cemetery and
It's expensive.
it's almost like putting a human in the ground.
Yeah, no, it's expensive.
Yeah, I know. Been there in Hartsdale. My dad's did it for years. Got a lot of dogs there. Not into the cremation or whatever. But it's good to know that they have a place to rest and
They got
hopefully
cats, mice, parakeets.
Cats and dogs, yeah, absolutely. Cats and dogs in my
Should open up a
backyard.
ghost zoo.
It's all possible. I mean,
Make some money off
there's a
that.
lot of animals in the ground. It's like I should have made a map,
Yeah.
and I didn't. But I can feel it sometimes where they are.
I wouldn't grow vegetables there.
They grow really good there.
Well, that's, you know, if you go to Costco.
You gotta see the size of those tomatoes.
Yeah, with eyes on them.
They got purples in it. You know, when they built that Stu Leonard Costco stuff over here, when they built Costco, they came
was
up.
in a Jewish cemetery over
Yeah,
there?
there was a Jewish cemetery over there, and they started uncovering bodies. Now, there's a big plaque there dedicated. They literally tracked it down. That's what they're saying, but they've tracked down everybody. They relocated them. They got permission to relocate. But people still leave little markers there. I would say, for the most part, I think they did do right by them, because if they didn't, I think you'd have a lot more problems than you know.
But you know, I've heard stories about Stu Leonard's and Costco's or whatever else is up over there. Home Depot, whatever it is.
I
Yeah.
don't feel good in there.
Yeah, I mean,
That they found bodies there?
not that they found anybody, but people I know have had experiences there. People who work there that had experiences.
Stu Leonard's.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been there, so I don't know the place. I'm not familiar with it.
I remember
But
the road. because
I
it was-
know people who've worked there that have had experiences in both in Stu Leonard's and Home Depot.
I don't feel
You
good every
know,
time I drive into the lot. It doesn't matter.
and
if it's
someone
Stu
said
or
something about the Home
Depot.
Depot parking
Every
lot,
time I
which is
leave, it
really,
better.
they said, is off the hook. Yeah.
Well, on the other side of the hill
That explains it.
from Stu Leonard's
Pretty
and
much does.
Costco and closer to Sawmill River Road,
Cemetery.
there's some kind of retarded people's facility. Because when I used to work for Cisco as a salesman, I used to send mail in, my mail as a salesman, with their Friday food delivery. And I used to go up there, so who knows? I mean, you know, did people die there? And did the administrators bury the bodies without letting anybody
Well,
know?
if you're talking
Like
about
Letchworth Village, you
It was
got,
a-
what, 350 graves up there?
Yeah,
it was a nursing home up there.
Yes.
We're talking about. Well, here's the story with that. The owner, the original owner of that, I think his name was Bergman. And I knew the son. And he told me, he says, nobody ever dies in this place. We get checks for life. Oh. So I asked him, where do you put the bodies? He said, well, they were around. That's all he said.
Come on.
Because if you never have a funeral, the check is always going to keep coming.
Yeah, but if the guy's 160 years old, someone got to say, wait a minute,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
still getting
but-
checks.
By the time
But-
they figure it
But
out.
Social Security, the game, the machine is that the computers they're not programmed for that.
No,
They figure people live forever.
And this place is actually where it's near, like Stu Leonard. It's like a white
Yeah,
building.
it's just like you said,
Right
it's
up the
right
road,
down
right?
off of Sawmill
You gotta
Road.
drive up.
It's all the way
You
on
drive
top of
up,
this
yeah.
mountain.
All right, this,
I've been there a few
yeah,
times
I've
when
been
it
there a
was
lot.
alive and kicking, and
Yeah.
you know, I was there with patients walking around, you know, so.
If you guys ever want to go to this lady's house where I've been going for the last few years, this is a little, it's kind of on topic, but off a little bit, off kilter. She has a bunch of Blessed Virgin statues inside her house that weep oil, and I've tested it, and it's legit.
Wow, I
And
would,
when you-
I would
and
love
when you start
to go.
praying, depends on your faith.
Okay,
Actually, the room fills up with rose. You smell.
smell rose.
Yeah, because,
Wow.
yeah, there's a lot.
I would I'm in.
I'd be in for that too. It's really funny. I'm like, I always joke around when I sell my apartment. I'm gonna, you know, I'll tell you X, Y, Z. But very interesting in my apartment, praying wise, only in the bedroom, one wall only. It gets damp, and it gets oily, and you know, I never mention it to anybody, but
You have something there. You have a cross or something, or like
No,
a picture.
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Wow.
It's just the light hits it, and there's a little bit of a shadow thing. Now I don't know if it's shadow play because we don't have curtains. We have blackout shades. You know, everything's blacked out. There's like a little spot that opens up, let some light in, let some air in. But in general, I use my bedroom to sleep. No one's partying in there. No, you know, whatever. There is a bit of like a Virgin Mary feel to it. I'm not of the faith.
You don't have to be.
No, I'm just letting you know that in general I'm not of the faith. And I believe in all these individuals, but I'm not of that faith. And So it's kind of interesting. I never collected any of the liquid. I've just felt it. It's pretty interesting.
Collect it if it comes like, I'm curious, collect it, put it in like a little vial or something, or with like a cotton, like swab
Yeah,
or something.
I think I may just do cotton swabs and see if there's something, and literally test it out on like a sore
Yeah.
or something, you know.
Well, I was in the hospital at 16. I had meningitis and encephalitis, so my mom got wind of this lady's house through like the community because my parents are religious.
Yeah.
So when I was in the hospital, you know, half dead, my mom went to this lady's house, prayed, and got some oil and rubbed it on my head. I was in a coma. They didn't know when I was gonna come out of it. She rubbed it on. Like an hour later, it came out.
Wow. Let me tell you the power of
Faith.
the power of God is huge.
But what the craziest part is when I went back to that lady's house, I never went there up until literally like 5-6 years ago. And I went to this lady's house just to give thanks
For helping you out.
for whoever, you know. So as soon as I started praying, mind you, it smells of a old woman's house. The woman's in her 70s.
And I know exactly what you're gonna say.
All right. As soon as I started praying, rose, just like a wafting. I was like, that's when like I just started crying. Like I had like just an energy of like I just can't explain, of such like
Emotions.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then
Touch
I
the
walked
Lord.
up to like, you know, a little altar that she has. She had 2 statues that were weeping. Now she has 3.
Wow.
So, and oil was just coming down and dripping slow from the eyes.
That's
I'm like, that's it. This is awesome. I'm coming here more. So
Yeah.
you can sleep here. I'm like, awesome.
It's
And everyone's
amazing.
invited.
That's amazing.
Because
Where does this woman live?
It's right by that home where Stu Leonard is.
Oh, it's
It's
in
like in the
Yonkers?
back. Yeah, off the Sawmill. I mean, if you ever
Okay.
want to go, I'll go with you. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm
Yeah.
definitely in.
that would be
I'm definitely
I
in.
could use a little healing every once in a
Al,
while.
have you
Yeah, I
and
need to
Brian
get out
ever
the most.
talked about doing an investigation up in the old Wingdale Hospital?
Yeah, I want to go there. I want to do that. I've been dying to do it.
Because I've heard some crazy
I told you a story the
stories.
last time we were here.
Yeah.
Of that little girl that got stuck to my girlfriend. You didn't hear it.
No, I didn't hear it.
Oh yeah, you missed it. Go ahead.
Real
if you don't
quick, I'm
mind.
going to make it quick. I don't want to,
No, not
tie
at
anybody
all.
up. So we were driving up to Lime Rock. I drive cars.
Okay.
So we're driving up to Lime Rock. We're about to pass Wingdale, and we're about to pass it. We're passing it slowly, and my girlfriend just screams. I'm like, what? Why are you screaming? She's like, you didn't see that? I'm like, "Hon, see what? She was like, there was a little girl. She was staring at me. I'm like, what did she look like? Where is she? She okay? She need me to pull over? She's like, no, I think it was a fucking ghost. She had pigtails. She had like an old skirt style like thing. She just kept looking at me. I saw her. She kept. I'm like, babe, I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, so we just went up, drove, came back home. Our buddy, who's also a medical intuitive, he was spending the night because we were like filming. We were like doing like this whole like we're gonna start a show
Okay.
with this everything that we were doing. So he spent the night. We completely forgot about that whole incident. He slept downstairs in the living room by the front of the house where the window is, and I come down the next morning. I'm like, dude, how's everything? How'd you sleep? You want coffee, breakfast? He's like, yeah. First of all, who's the dead girl on your lawn? And mind you, Wingdale's like an hour and 10 minutes from us.
Right.
Because we're over here in Tuckahoe, Scars, Eastchester.
Okay.
I lost it. I'm like, babe. So she
Come on
did a
down.
clearing. She cleared it and set it on its way.
Yeah.
But it's because she looked at it. They caught
Eye contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eye contact.
And
Which
she
made the
wanted, and that
attachment.
being
Yeah.
needed to communicate with someone like Phyllis.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because she knew what she was or
Right.
what she honed in on, Yeah, so we need to go up there.
Yeah, because, there have been stories for decades coming out of that place. I know people that, do this urban architecture. They go to abandoned places, and there was like this 8-foot-high creature, this black humanoid figure that they saw walking around there.
I believe it.
There's also one room where water is dripping from the floor up to the ceiling.
That I have to film that.
Well,
If that's going on.
That's kinda cool.
and there's one multi-story
Sabbath.
building where there's an entire floor missing. Like the building is supposed to be 8 stories, but the 5th floor is missing.
I want to go there at night because you can't go there during the day because there's cameras everywhere and that place is under guard. Because
And Mid-Hudson Psych, that's closed just above
You know what,
Poughkeepsie.
there's,
They're doing construction up there.
there are probably people that
They
will
got
give
it
you
fenced
permission.
off.
It's just getting to the right people to get the permission to go there. I can tell you this, we've been to Letchworth, and you get caught there, you're gonna get arrested. It's just a fact.
Yeah, it's not, it was easier years ago. You can't do it anymore. Can't do it anymore. Not the way they got it set up now. Back in the day, it was easier.
Letchworth, we went to, the last time we went up there, we got a couple of great EVP audio things outside of the building. And we kind of peeked in the back end. They must have just had a big fire, and that's the reason why they keep you out of it. Kids like fires.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tinderbox.
Yeah.
It's 27,000 acres worth of tinderbox. And at
What's
one
that,
point,
Letchworth?
Letchworth. And at one point, Lego, what we understand,
Yeah,
was
Lego's
supposed to
gonna
build
buy it, make a
a
Lego
Lego
land.
land there.
Wow.
And I'm like, not a good idea.
But the town put the kibosh
kibosh,
on it.
yeah.
Yeah, the kibosh on it. But yeah, that we're gonna do that.
That would have been gnarly.
Yeah, it would have been like, you know,
Those kids
Legos
trying to
flying
sleep
by
in those
themselves.
hotels with all those spirits and yeah.
Well, and then wanting to play with the spirits, thinking they're close friends, and
Yes.
bring them home.
it's just not a good vibe for a theme park. It's kind of like right over McLean.
Beautiful area. I mean, the grounds are
Yeah.
beautiful, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, and the buildings are.
You know
just-
what? I can see them taking the buildings and making them into some of the smaller ones, making them into shopping.
Yeah.
You know, some of them, or I mean, this golf course right there. I mean, you can
Yeah,
play golf, but and make it into like a nice little village and maybe exploiting the fact that there's 27,000 acres of untouched type of stuff. You know, enjoy the wilderness and
Yeah.
remember the people.
Well, there's a place in Staten Island that was essentially a home for the indigent.
Yeah, I passed that a couple of times.
Yeah, and they have said there are numerous sightings of high strangeness going
Well,
on there.
I was hanging out with Brian Kano one night, and Brian is from Staten Island.
Yeah.
And he went there, him and his best friend went there when they were younger, because they were doing like a ghost show back then, like on closed circuit television, whatever that was called back in the day when they did it in the basement. What was it called? You know what I'm trying to say?
Public access.
Public access, yes, and they were doing it. And they went there, and he told us all kinds of, so he told me all kinds of stories.
Apparently in the
happened there,
70s,
yeah.
kids from the neighborhood used to go into those grounds and never return.
Yeah, he said there was a couple of incidences with a couple of girls from his neighborhood too that just freaked them out. They just freaked them out. They were never the same.
Speaking of Brian Keno, and I'm going to do a little plug here. So the same weekend that the UFO up in Pine Bush is taking place on the 18th, 17th and 18th, I will be at, won't be there, I'll be in Woodbridge, New Jersey for the New Jersey Para Unity Expo. And they're raising money, but I'll be doing presentation stuff with Tom Conwell, who is probably one of the best researchers in
And
UFOs.
Tom is a statistic genius.
Right.
He's got stats on everything.
Tom Conwell.
He's been posting on Facebook.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He posts a lot, and he's the first person that I heard because I interviewed him on my show, and it was so simple, it was genius, like why their UFOs are not.
Yeah, that was a
around
great
as much.
interview what you had with
And
Tom.
he said
yeah.
it's simple. The survey's done. They don't need to be here.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think of it that way, and it makes so much sense. But I'll be doing an event there. It's in a new room, paranormal and cryptids and paranormal and aliens. And then Ron Murphy's going to be there doing cryptid stuff. And there's
Who's the
a
other
lot
guy
of.
with too? The other guy.
Eric Altman was supposed
Eric
to be up there,
Altman,
but Eric,
Eric's not coming.
he's got a couple of issues that he's deal with health wise.
Ah.
But Zappos is going to be there. Katrina Wyman, Chip
Yeah,
Coffey,
who's who?
Amy Allen,
Everybody's
Grant
gonna be there,
Grant
absolutely.
Wilson, everybody from basically ghost hunters, all the guys
TV
from the
stars,
Wraith,
yeah.
the Wraith
This
Chasers.
is when, May 18th?
This
Yes.
is May 17th, 18th, and it's at Woodbridge, New Jersey, and it's you know what?
Hotel?
This what? Do we have a
School.
hotel?
It's a school.
No, it's at a school actually. We went to the
went
first
last
time
year, yes.
and my daughter just wouldn't stop talking since day one.
No, it was a good.
But
it
it
was
was-
good. Yeah, we had a lot of fun there. We met a lot of people.
Yeah, it was solid, and You know, I was amazed. It was raining a storm.
Brutal.
People were lined up, like a huge line to get into this place.
Brutal weather
So,
was brutal. I couldn't believe how bad it
John
was.
does a great
Place
job
was
with this.
mobbed.
You
Yeah.
know, and his
Rogerio, right?
yeah, Rogerio,
Yeah.
he's a great guy. Him and his partner Chris, they do a great job with this. Brian Keno is huge in this, so Brian does a good job, and we're trying to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, grilled Brian last year on old school techniques. I had him cornered for like a half hour because when I go out, I do new school, old school. You know what I mean? Because I tell you what, a lot of times I get more stuff with the old school stuff than I do with the new school stuff. You know, so I just happened to grab his ear and I just cornered him and we just talked for like an hour about old school techniques and stuff. But just want to mention next year at Pine Bush. It's going to be a 2-day event.
It's
So
about
2020.
time.
Yes, 2020.
It should. We've been saying this for years.
3 years. We've been pushing it for 3 years.
I love going to Pine Bush. We were the ones that started the paranormal.
Yeah,
center.
we started the paranormal center.
Basically, if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't have the museum or
No,
all the stuff.
absolutely not. Yeah.
And it's a great time, but you know, the conflict here. I wanted to push it to the weekend that they had last
So you
year.
take a break 1 year.
No, it's all good. It's just like it's a great event to visit. You know, it's
I'm
fun.
definitely gonna go this year. Yeah.
You know, but Woodbridge is right around the corner. So
Yeah.
get some
Yeah, I'd like to
Chick-fil-A.
go to that thing in Woodbridge. It sounds nice.
It's a great event. There's a lot of vendors. You can
And
meet
it's not
chip
that
coffee.
expensive either. It's
No,
really
not
not.
at all.
No, I'm thinking like $20 to get in, and then like $5 to go see the speakers, whoever you want to go
Whoever
see.
you want to
Yeah,
see,
you don't have to
yeah.
go see everybody.
And
You know
this
what
is Woodbridge is not. It's like an hour from here, right?
It's yeah. If you
He
drive
knows better
50
than I do,
miles an
yeah.
hour, it's an hour. But yeah,
I mean?
if you're driving a little bit faster, I mean, it really does make
It's
sense.
off the
but
Garden State, I think.
It's
right?
where the Garden State meets the turnpike, roughly.
Oh yeah, that's not that far.
So it's not
I
that
get
far at all.
instructions.
Yeah, and I was,
39 minutes.
you know, it was a really fun event last year. I was really surprised.
Yeah, and we had both of his little daughters with us. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and you know, he, this Jordan said, complained about you. Al talks to everybody. I'm like, you haven't stopped talking since you got in the car. But there's a lot of people there, a lot of vendors. You can just John Zappas. And,
Everybody,
you say, hey, John,
everybody,
Very effective presentation.
Amy Allen had a line that went down the building and around the corner. I didn't know what it was. I walked past all these people online because they were like three corridors away. Because I wanted to talk to Amy. I walked up there, cut everybody off to the front of the line, and I realized, holy crap, all of these people are waiting to talk to Amy.
Well, what was she doing? Really readings? Or
No,
just
it's just
talking?
greeting me. That's it. It's just greeting me. But
They're just there. I mean,
everybody and their mother wanted to talk. The Chip Coffee was there. Everybody
it's
was
a
there.
Great,
It's just
great
Crazy.
event.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Even
we
just to
talked
walk
to
around,
everybody.
it's not bad.
Well, they have good vendors. They have good, you know, and hopefully Ron will be there, Giacometti and Ron with his
Ron
new program.
posted something today on Facebook. They were up at the Hinsdale house.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, this dude's out of his
What's
mind going
that?
to that place. I would never
What's
go
that?
there.
That's
What
the
place?
really super duper supposedly haunted house. It's one of those places where people get scratched.
You
and
take
hurt
you
and-
can take a chance of getting an attachment there. What's his name? The guy from
Rosemary Ellen Kelly.
no, the guy.
Zach Baggins.
Nope, the other
Where's
guy.
it located?
Upstate New York.
The guy that does Paranormal Lockdown. What's his name? Zach's old partner.
Nick Roth.
Nick Roth.
Yeah, he literally-
he went there with Katrina, and he brought an attachment home. He had to go get it.
I remember that.
An exorcism.
I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
It's not a, it's a,
I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go there, and my cousin
I'm
called
not
me up
going
one
there.
time.
All the saints in the
and
world.
my cousin wanted to go there, and I told him, "Don't go there." And when I seen Ron's video today, I meant to call Ron and talk to him, but then I ended up going to my aunt's house, and a whole bunch of stuff happened, so I never got a chance to talk to Ron. But when I watched this video, I was like, they slept there. They slept there.
Rosemary
Nuts.
even mentioned that it's one of the, she was there for a while, but eventually she had to leave. She had to leave the place. I've never heard anything good about it.
No, not even the grounds around it. Nothing
You know what would
good.
be great? like if once it starts getting warmer, we should definitely check out, because it's so close here, the Lennar Preserve, which is down the road in Yonkers.
Oh, yeah.
The Lennar Preserve, that place, that building is haunted. It's got a lot of bad energy, because I pulled up there with Phyllis a few years back, and I didn't tell her like what went on in the area. So as soon as we started pulling up, she was like, "Can we leave? I don't feel good." I'm like, "No, wait, we gotta come on, let's just walk around a little bit." She said she picked up on what went on in the past, and there was just people just wearing cloaks.
I used to go up there in the summers and I'd bring, a blanket,
Yeah,
something to eat, lay out on that
Yeah.
beautiful lawn overlooking the Hudson,
Yeah.
read a book, listen to my
it's
Walkman
really nice
and
what
just
they did.
chill.
Yeah.
I called it my fortress
Yeah.
of solitude because there's never more than 5 or 6 people there
Yeah.
during the day.
Yep. I was just there 2 days ago. It's beautiful, but that house, that building, oh man.
What went on there?
And she just said she saw cloaks, people wearing cloaks and stuff that shouldn't have been done.
Well, another place you can visit if you can get on there. I mean, we were there is up in Riverdale, the college that's up in Mount St. Vincent, and the auditorium is haunted by this little girl. They actually, you have to say hello to her when you come in, and when you go, okay, we're leaving now. Whatever, I've got her name. But when I was there, I was talking to some people, and my kids' school used to do a fundraiser there. So they'd rent out one of the old places and do an auction type of thing. So I was like, this is perfect for an investigation. We'll get the student body involved. It'll be great. There's a building towards the end, and this one guy, this guard, was like telling me all these stories. Apparently, way back when, that's where all there was one building that's off near the railroad tracks, and to this day they still see and hear some crazy stuff. But apparently there was a priest that was picking up all the stray kids from the neighborhood and decapitating them. And again, this is a story from one of the security guards. I was like, how you never know. But apparently they get pizza, they get deliveries there, and no one's ever ordered anything from the building. It's the weirdest thing. Outside businesses are getting paged to the building. And I guess there may have been former businesses that whoever was living there was ordering from or whatever.
Wow.
And it's pretty intense.
Wow.
So businesses were getting orders to be delivered to that
Yep,
building.
they go up there and deliver, and they're like,
and there's nobody there.
no one's there. And the security guards, what are you talking about? What building? He goes, well, they'd send him where the building is, and people are like, no one's there. I was there for like 20 minutes. The light's not even on. And security guards don't know. Some of them don't know, and some of them don't even want to get involved. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. But there's some weird stuff. It depends on what you want to get involved in. We've got about 10 minutes left before it's time to go bye-bye. But I want to thank everybody for showing up. Sorry, we're doing our best, and I mentioned this earlier, trying to get the same day every month, and it's a project. When I hit the lottery tonight, it won't be a project. I'll just build something. Most likely a religious type of institution where people can openly do it, their prayers and whatever, and then we can.
What are you doing to get more people here?
Part of the reason why that we took like a month off is because I have little kids. I have to be a parent first before whatever. So, actually I was going to give you a call. We were thinking about doing something closer to either Eastchester.
Yeah, I live there.
Because there's a Eastchester library.
There's a Tuckahoe library. If you want me to go there, I'll check it out.
Well, here's the problem. You can't go to Tuckahoe because the same guy that runs the library in where we were runs that one.
Forget it.
You mean the Crestwood Library?
Yeah, you can't go there.
Yeah, I can't go.
It's all run by the same guy. And
Yeah,
you can't
that's
go-
part of Yonkers
Right.
library system.
Right. So, and then not only that, Anna Day, of which you were here, but he was online, mentioned there's a church off of Yonkers Avenue or a place.
You said
may
something
know.
about a church one time off of Yonkers Avenue.
Yonkers Avenue, and it has a big parking lot, and it's
No, it's off McLean Avenue.
off McLean.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a Lutheran church.
No, that's fine. I don't care. I just don't know. We're doing this out of the, I don't have any money to spend on this.
I understand that.
This is to let everybody know. I mean, like, priorities are kids first. We're doing the best we can with what we have. And we're gonna try to get more of the college kids involved because this is an ideal. Kids, this is where you're gonna get people interested, the college kids. I don't think the high school kids are gonna be interested.
Yeah, because they got open minds.
Right, and
Let's
then
hope so.
you're opening up yourself to, like, immaturity and stupidity. We don't need that in this lifetime.
No.
So, we have no problems about, you wanna promote it, promote it. I have no problems about it. This meeting next month will take place the same day, and I think the same week, the third week. I try to get Thursdays, but it's really bad. And they've been very gracious here, so, I don't mind being here. I'd love to pack this room with people and get real guests over there, or even on Skype, doing real presentations.
Yeah.
I have no problems about people presenting, I just don't wanna bore the hell out of anybody. That's it. Part of the problem that would cause us the breakup the last time with the meetup group is that someone couldn't say no, and they kept presenting and presenting and presenting, and people were walking out. And I have people texting me like, "What is this BS?" And these people that were presenting have other vehicles to present in. You stay on Long Island, and you go down to Manhattan.
Yeah, you were that girl that took the entire meeting about, communing with the spirit of her dead cat. And she's showing all these things up on a screen. And you said, "You see the cat's face?" And I turned to Danny and said, "You see anything?" He says, "No,
She
I don't
has
see
a
nothing."
medicine wheel, and I left. I mean, he was.
Well, that's
he
the
was
claim
livid.
to
I was livid.
Smoke coming out of my ears, man.
And I'm getting texts
That
from
was
some of the
cool.
guys.
Five
She was
times
so
to
crazy.
go out
You should
there.
have seen the drawings she did.
She had an excuse
Looked like she did it
every
with
time.
crayon.
Literally,
We tried.
literally did it that day. Because as an artist, I know what it's like when you're doing something that she did them in sequence in a row and said, "Oh, this is over a lifetime." Bullshit. Okay? But the person that was in charge of the group didn't want to call bullshit. They loved this stuff. There was another guy that came into the meeting and he caught on to like, remember what's his name? And he
I know you're talking about, yeah.
he started saying stuff about,
He just went on. He just
He-
started making shit up as he
Right.
went.
Who is
and
this?
the bullshit meter was just
So
off the
basically, he
charts.
has no one to talk to at home.
Basically,
Yeah,
that was it.
basically,
Or
yeah.
he was like, I'm gonna have some fun with these people, and people were sucking it
I think
up.
once he realized people were eating up his shit,
Yeah, he loved it.
just
Remember that heavyset guy, Lance? Oh, he was a pain in the butt.
Lance
Lance
was a reptilian
Lance-
guy.
yeah.
Well, Lance wasn't that bad unless you talked about reptilians. Then
Right.
he went off the charts. But
I mean, there was one time he got really, really upset. There was a couple of people that came to those meetings that were terrified. And Dan, no offense to you, Dan, but Dan was like giving him crap, and this other person giving him like, "Look, this guy's terrified. He's worried about being abducted." And now that he finds a place where he can actually discuss this, and you're gonna ridicule him. You can't do that.
we're not here to ridicule people. We
No.
have to let them talk. I mean,
Somebody was
but
worried about
let's
being-
not make
Yeah.
shit up as you
They
go.
were
either.
terrified of it. They were reading all these
take up all
books
our
on it.
time.
And they were worried about their kid being abducted. It was very, very intense, and you could see that there was genuineness there. I don't know their mental health capacity, but it seemed very genuine. Someone comes to this group, we're not here to make fun of you.
No.
We've all had experiences, most of us, and we just want to make sure that you're okay. If you need a place to vent, it's a place to vent. It's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous, but
It's a safe zone. It's a safe zone for everybody to talk about their stuff. You know what I mean? I know it should be ridiculed about.
Right.
But don't come here and try to pull the wool over our eyes and make an ass out of us because we're not going to tolerate that. That's not going to happen.
I just can't handle that, and I can't. And that's where I'm
So
done.
that meeting would be what, the 19th probably?
I believe it's the 19th. I'll tell you. Let me see it on my phone.
And the same place, same.
It's the same place right here. At that meeting, I'm going to try to get the next 2 months. She's only letting me do things 2 months at a clip.
Yikes.
So that's part of the problem. And I think it's the I don't know if it's the 19th. It's the 19th. So next March 19th, we'll be back here at this library.
Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Right, 6 to 8. And we have a Yahoo group, New York City UFO Project, to keep people in contact with each other. Some of the people that used to go to the other groups, you know, they gotta travel, so I'm not giving them any crap, but some people wanna take part in it, some people just are very observers, you know.
This,
I
well,
like
even
taking
though
part
this
in it.
was small, it turned out to be very nice.
Yeah, the conversation was great,
It was a
absolutely.
great conversation.
Great
and
conversation,
That's the
yeah.
important thing, because you can have a bigger group of people and it can turn out to be a bomb.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that, you know, like, that's what the problem was a lot of time in the other place, was that after you did the meditation, and after everybody went around the room, and after, we got no place.
Yeah, we never even got all the way around the room because everybody would,
And,
you know, go on for like
And then
a
at the
half
end,
hour, and then the next person, and the next.
What really frustrates me is the people that want to convince, that are just are focused on convincing one another, and they are adamant.
yes, and that's the
what bothers
problem.
me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, there
You
are
know.
people like that, you know what I mean?
And they just keep going
Yeah.
and going.
Well, that's it too, it's the time, it's like sometimes people have something to say that, certain people are not that interested in, and I think if you know, you have a certain amount of time that you're allotted, that also will save a lot of problems too.